Many of us know who George H.W. Bush and Bush Jr. are, that they were presidents and just so patriotic. They were imperialists, but many do not know about the past of the family, which not only shows a weirdly cozy bond with the CCP, but also an advocacy for communism/communistic policies, especially with one member before either of them were president. Then ironically enough, there was also another who was fairly buddy-buddy with the communist supporting / largely corrupt Rockefeller family. The majority of the Rockefellers wanted / want to destroy democracy so that way they can have nothing but straight monopolies in an oligarchy.
I don't know, Mr. Krabs. That sounds a lot like human trafficking.
Money, 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 money.
Why do you think John D. Rockefeller says that he would destroy America and its people because the Supreme Court would not let him have his monopoly? First, Prescott Sheldon Bush was a man part of leading a coup to overthrow our government and install a commie regime instead. Now, Prescott Bushy was an avid supporter of communism, being involved in aiding the Nazi Party during World War II, particularly in cahoots with bankers at the Union Banking Corporation, or the UBC. He, the Brown/Harriman brothers, and other corrupt elites plus businesses at the time that were supporting the Nazis, like Ford Motors, planned on an armed coup which would use rage-baited veterans
Triggered.
to storm the Capitol in arms and overthrow Presidente FDR. Whilst keeping him as the figurehead. Meanwhile, they would be pulling the strings from behind the scenes along with a man by the name of General Smedley Butler. This man was the person that they contacted to try to enlist to help them stage the coup. This failed though, as General Butler was loyal to his country and reported their nefarious plans to Congress. So Samuel Prescott Bush, the grandpappy of George H.W. Bush, started off as an apprentice at one of the 4 largest steel companies at his time, which was Buckeye Steel Casting Company. This was ironically enough owned by Frank Rockefeller. Then later on, Samuel Bush proceeded to become the president of that steel company as well too, which solidified the chummy sort of relationship with the corrupt Rockefeller family. He was also fairly close with E.H. Harriman, who was also known as the railroad baron at the time. Now that you guys kind of get backstory for the family ties before George H.W. Bush and Bush Jr., let's go and talk about the first one of them to become a president. Now, again, most of you guys know George H.W. Bush. He was a president, but not everybody knows the fact of the matter that he was first a UN ambassador and also an ambassador to China for a short time. Him plus his wife lived in China as well too. Bush Sr. also happened to found the George H.W. Bush Foundation for U.S.-China Relations as well too. Their website even says that he was known as the bicycling ambassador during his time living in the capital of Beijing for over 15 months. He wouldn't be fairly chummy with the CCP or its people, you know, if he had a nickname like that. No, not at all. Not to mention that apparently during George H.W. Bush's presidency, his brother, ironically enough, happened to be one of the only few people who was able to open a golf course in China. One of the few that were approved at the time. Now, obviously, they had a very sour connection with the CCP at the time. So during George H.W. Bush's presidency, right, he had the whole Iran-Contra scandal, which would essentially lay the groundworks for a Iraqi regime change, which is a very common US imperialistic tactic, by the way, plus the whole 9/11 fabrication event, which would ultimately lead to more communistic policies and stuff like that, which we're going to talk more about here in just a second. So Bush Jr. initiated this huge, massive start of the modern surveillance state in the US. Plus, his family had a weirdly chummy connection with the CCP too, right? Now, one could argue that with all these themes of communism and Papa Bush living in China's capital for over a year, that it would be hard to imagine it wouldn't have had some sort of imprint on their family and/or their politics. The families also arguably stayed pretty close with the CCP as well too, as far as I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. Now that we've taken a look at all of that, let's take a look at the Bush Jr. aspect of this. Now, George W. Bush Jr. initiated the whole start of this modern surveillance state, which is communistic in nature, by the way, after his daddy laid the groundworks to overthrow Saddam Hussein. So Poppy H.W. Bush laid the groundworks for his son to do his part in brainwashing Americans into a horrid forever war in the Middle East based on terror events. Ones our corrupt government fabricated, like 9/11, plus the controlled demolition of the World Trade Center, in order to get people to give up more of their rights, plus even more taxpayer dollars to the corrupt government. This was all to get people on board with sending our troops into a foreign war, plus to overthrow someone that our corrupt government didn't like and was in their way. Not only that, but also to help usher in the start of a communistic surveillance state, similar, if not the same, as China's plans.
China.
This is the predecessor of the pseudo-surveillance state that we currently have here in the US. Now, it seems a little more than just ironic, doesn't it? So, like, if we look back and take a gander at all this, right? We had Samuel Prescott Bush, right? Who was the grandpappy of H.W. Bush, who was buddy-buddy with one of the Rockefellers and became president of said Rockefeller's steel company eventually, and also was buddy-buddy with one of the biggest banking tycoons at the time, who was also known as a railroad baron later on, which then leads to Prescott Bush, you know, essentially having all the ties that he does with banking, and then these elites of the world, right, who wants to, you know, help lead a coup to overthrow the president to install a communist regime. And then you have George H.W. Bush, who lived in China, right, for over 15 months in the capital, and then laid the groundworks for everything that his son does with the Iran-Contra scandal. And then, you know, in turn, we have Bush Jr., who then continues that work and, you know, overthrows Saddam Hussein, who was democratically elected, by the way, because he was in the way and they wanted resources and whatever else, right? Nonetheless, they wanted a regime change. That's after the fabrication 9/11, which they blamed on him, and it turns out that he wasn't even actually the guy, but that just kind of, you know, got brushed underneath the rug. But then, like, that was all used to initiate a communistic surveillance state startup in the US without people really even thinking about it too much. Did I mention that 3 Bushes happen to be members of the Skull and Bones secret society too? This isn't the first time that we've had corrupt elite bankers, businessmen, etc. like Prescott Bush, or a president that's corrupt such as George H.W. Bush or Bush Jr. being a part of a secret society or one that's at a prestigious school neither. Each one of them enrolled in the society, which is 3 whole generations. That's something that you can't ignore considering all the messed up things that they did. JFK wanted to abolish secret societies for a reason, you guys. A lot of corruption stems from them. Now, they especially had close ties with other business tycoons / barons in the media plus big banking sectors who also happen to be a part of this secret society as well too. Now, in particular, Prescott Bush, the father of Bush Sr., happened to have 3 pretty close connections in this society. So the first close fellow bonesman of Prescott Bush was a man by the name of Averell Harriman of the Union Banking Corporation, which was helping aid the financial backer of the Nazi Party, Fitz Tyson. Averell was responsible for introducing Prescott to key figures which would help their family in the near future, such as future CIA head Allen Dulles, which was likely largely part of Bush Sr.'s rise to power in politics. The second fellow S&B connection of Prescott Bush was the founder of the Time magazine.
What?
Yeah, that's right, the Time magazine. Henry Lucci. Are you starting to understand how Bush Sr. arguably became president now? It was rigged and has been because of lobbying for decades. Plus, with the LIEgacy media pushing propaganda and the illusion of a fair election too, when the outcome is generally pre-decided to begin with. Also, having such elite connections makes it fairly hard for most people to compete with someone like that as well too. Now, the third was former National Security Advisor McGeorge Bundy, whom served under JFK as well as Lyndon B. Johnson, and he was also, ironically enough, a mentor figure for Bush Sr. in his early diplomatic career. That last one was one that was shared between Prescott Bush and his son Bush Sr., right? Well, there's also a 4th fellow Skull and Bones Society member who also had close ties with the Bush family as well too. Number 4 was appointed the chairman of the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission, or the USEC, by Bush Jr. Not only was he a fellow Skull and Bones member, but he was also a founder of the DLJ investment firm, which had a net worth of millions of dollars in the banking industry. In turn, demonstrating another example of a high life figure in the big banking industry with a connection to the Bush family and the Skull and Bones secret society too. As you can see, the Bush family has had some fairly interesting connections with many shady people who were up in the upper echelon / elite classes in their time. Not only that, but also with substantial figureheads in the banking, media, and government / politics that were a part of the same secret society. They're not the only presidentes / elites with these secret society ties. Many corrupt elites have been in these and strolled their way into elite power positions because of their involvement with these secret societies. However, not all elites or presidents have been a part of these though. Again, this is a huge part of why JFK wanted to ban these societies And he knew how well corruption could thrive in them too. Not only that neither, but there's really no reason for them to exist anymore at his time, or now even too. But that's enough about what I think. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Bushes really are big commies instead of patriots? Do you think that their ties to the Skull and Bones Society has something to do with their presidential policies and their moves in the political sphere? And, you know, the banking industry as well too, and their other business ventures? Let us know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear it. As usual, though, my dudes, if you guys did make it to this point in the video, go and leave the phrase "Deep State Eat My Cake" in the comment section down below, so let me know that you made it to the end and that you guys are part of the 1,000,000% tribe. As usual, if you guys did enjoy, please don't forget to, hit that like button and destroy the shit out of the subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me, and more importantly, it also helps us to get even further in the CensorTube algorithm out to even more people, to let them know that it's okay to question these shitty, corrupt systems we live in, and that it's perfectly natural to do so. Also, if you guys would like a more interactive experience with us, come join us live every Wednesday and Friday from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time, where we talk about conspiracy facts such as this, play a variety of games such as Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, etc. Whatever really floats the mood, or, chill out and have a good time, make some dark humor memes, and just vibe out, As usual, though, my dudes, I appreciate you guys very much for being here. Thank you. Much love. And until next time, please don't forget to live long and prosper. Take care and peace. Keep it 1,000,000% real. And as always, fuck the system. I will see you guys on the flip side. Z-Trend.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna